Okay, in this tutorial we are going to learn how to make smoke text. So we're going to come up here and I'm going to open up a new document. So File, New, and I'm going to make it in pixels. I'm going to make it 800 by 600, and I'm going to change the resolution to 72 because I just want this to be displayed on a monitor. So we got 800 by 600 at 72 pixels per inch. Once the document is open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to paint this entire background, and I'm going to paint it a gray because I think that it looks good when you have smoke on top of a gray background. So grab your paint bucket tool, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to choose a color somewhere between white and black. Somewhere in the middle I'm going to choose kind of this darkish gray and click OK, and then I'm going to paint my background black. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my text tool, the big T, and when I click on my text tool, all of this up here is my text options. And I want to pick a nice thick font to use to make this smoke text. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose Impact because it's a nice bold and thick font that we can use. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here where it says 12 point, and when I go over here I can only go up to 72 points, and I want to make my text big, so I'm going to make it 100 points. So I'm just going to highlight it, type 100, and then click enter to make it set. And if I come over here, if I were to type right now, I wouldn't be able to see my text because the text color would be the same color as the background. So I'm going to click to select my text color, and I'm going to make it black text. Okay, once I have all that created, I'm going to come over here to the side, click, and I've got my cursor, and I'm going to write or type smoke. Now if I come up here to the text, I can highlight it, or if I come outside the text, notice that my I bar goes away and I can bring down here an arrow, and I can move my text around the screen with the arrow just by clicking and dragging. I'm going to put it right in the middle. Very good. Once I like it where it is, I'm going to come over here to layer 1, click on it, and you'll know that it's set because smoke is now replacing layer 1. Now the next thing I want to do is make a duplicate copy of this layer. There's two ways of doing that. I can either click and drag this down to the create a new layer icon, or I can just right click on it and go to duplicate layer. Smoke copy is fine. I'm going to click OK. So now smoke copy is on top and smoke is on the bottom. The one that I'm going to manipulate right now is going to be on the top. So for the meantime, I'm going to turn my eyeball off of my other one just so that it doesn't get in the way and it doesn't confuse me. So this smoke copy, the thing that I'm going to do to it is we're going to add some filters to it. I'm going to come to Filter, Blur, and I'm going to do a Gaussian blur. And what this does is it's going to blur it from the inside out so the edges will look a little blurry. And it's going to ask if I want to rasterize the type or turn the font or type into pixels instead of into a vector. So I'm going to click OK, yes. Notice that my square is now the image of smoke instead of a T that represents the text. And you can see, if I drag this window out of the way, you can kind of see a preview of what we're going to get. I like it at about 2. I think 2 looks pretty good. And you can mess around with this. You don't want to make it too blurry, because if you make it too blurry you can't read the text anymore. So I'm going to make it about a 2.2. Looks good, so I'm going to click OK. The next filter I'm going to apply is under Filter, and I'm going to go to Distort and Wave. Again, you can see the preview here of what it'll look like, and the reason that it's so distorted and I can't read it is because the wavelength is too low. If I increase the wavelength, then my smoke, I begin to see the text again. So I'm going to bring this wavelength up until I can kind of see the smoke even more. If I bring the wavelength even more up, then you can see it even more. But I want there to be a little curl in it, so let's find a good wavelength. That looks pretty good. I have mine at 62 and 174. So now I've got a nice little waved smoke here. The final step that we're going to do, and this is mostly on technique, I'm going to come over here to this teardrop looking icon. It's my blur tool, and if I use the right button on the mouse to click down, I can choose the smudge tool, which is underneath it. And I want kind of a bigger brush than this, so I'm going to come up to my brushes, and I want a soft brush, and mine's 13 right now. Let's see what 27 looks like. This is a good size right here. And what I want to do is go inside the text here, and I'm going to just click and drag out, and what happens is you get this nice smoke effect. And you can kind of twirl it around and grab the edges. And once it's out, you can kind of play with it and make it look smoky. This is very much a technique. Different people get different effects, but if I grab what's lighter here, I can kind of blur it out even more and make it look like it's smoking away. One thing I will caution you on with this tutorial is you do not want to blur it too much, because if you blur it too much, then you won't be able to read the text anymore. So as it goes, you can go around the edges of the smoke of the letters here, and you can create more and more smoke. And you can probably hear that I'm clicking multiple times, and I'm only affecting my smoke copy layer, so it's not really going to affect the whole thing. And I'm just kind of doing a little artistic thing with it. But you can still read the word smoke in here. I would get all the edges here though, even if it's just a little bit. So there you have it. You got smoke text. Thank you very much.